Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Just going to give it a few minutes to let everyone catch up. Let everyone that's going to be joining us today come on. So thanks for joining us today. We're trying a new time for these trainings to see if it helps. See if people come on when it's in the evenings a little bit more than when they come on later. So we're trying a new time. So let us know if you like it or don't like it. If you like it better during the day, that's great too. Hey Natasha, I can see you've joined. So we're just going to give it a couple minutes, well, like a minute here for everyone else to join. Talking today about property management, doing our tips for the self-manager. So, oh, hey guys, Camilla, Colleen, Liana, oh, there we go. Sean, awesome. So yeah, what are the best tips for property management? So, you know, lots of you know us, but lots of you don't. So I'm Tiffany from Investor Life. We're the foundings. Hey, Sean from the East Coast. Yes, 8 o'clock. Awesome. So we have someone joining us actually from further east apparently too. So that's great. Anyways, we are talking about self-management. So for those that don't know us, we're from Investor Life, you're part of our group, but you might not know our background. And our background is that about 15 years ago, we got into real estate and we started buying properties. We bought over 100 properties in a 3.5 year period, and we've held most of those for the last 15 years. So for the most part, we self-manage them. So over 100 properties, about 52 of those though were long-term buy and holds. So we have been managing in-house for all that time, other than 1 year, 9 months actually. We've been self-managing those. So yes, we have a team in-house that had helped us, not so much now, but getting things systemized and rolling. We managed 52 properties, which was crazy. But you know what? In that time, thanks, Susan. Yeah, good topic. You know what? We actually did a poll. For those of you that participated, we did a poll back a couple of weeks ago, talking to you guys saying, okay, what kinds of stuff do you want us to do trainings on? And of course, joint venturing is our specialty. That's how we bought all of our properties. So of course, that's our specialty. But the second hottest topic was, property management things, tips, tricks, little things that you can do. And believe me, we've learned a lot of them. So in the, hey Bill, in the 15 years that we've been investing, we made a ton of mistakes. Especially in the beginning, of course, how else do you learn but to make those mistakes? So our hope today is that we can help you to not make those mistakes and save you a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy. And, we know that if we stay in this game of investing long term, long enough to get our properties paid down, get all of our, our mortgages are getting paid off for us, we're starting to cash flow, rents have gone up, our expenses have gone down, all of those things, that's when we really win in real estate, is in those longer term years. But for the self-manager, that is really, really tough. So how many of you guys are self-managing? If you just throw it in the comments for me below, just how many of you guys, hey Derek, how many of you guys are self-managing your properties? So let me know that. Let me know too, any major obstacles that you've had, the things that you need addressed, just the parts of property management that you actually dislike the most. I don't like to use the word hate, although we could probably say there's parts of it that we hate. But yeah, let me know how many people are self-managing and, what your biggest issues are, and we can address them. So awesome. Liana and Terry, you guys are both self-managing. Great. It's a totally different game when you only have a few. Okay. Heather, Olga, you have a property manager. Kate, it's great. I've got some tips for you too. So a lot of these things apply that we can actually help our property managers do. So awesome. Perfect. Susan, great. So we've got some self-managers. We've got some people using property management regardless. This is our portfolio, right? So whether we have a property manager or not, at the end of the day, these things, the buck stops with us. So we are ultimately responsible for our own portfolios. Now, we had a property manager. I'll do a whole new training on how you can, vet and help your property manager, because they're not perfect and they've got a million things to do, but there are some things we can do to help them be more successful. But at the end of the day, it's us. We're the ones that it affects. It's our lives that will change if we don't manage properly or help them manage properly. So today we're going to share those top 3 tips. So thanks guys for letting me know. So it looks like quite a few of you are self-managing. That's awesome. And definitely going to address all that stuff. So now the biggest thing probably that we could talk about is screening. So screening our tenants, there's so many different opinions on it. There's so many different ways of doing it. You get the books or the advice or the forums from in the US, totally different than what we do here in Canada. Even industry in Eastern Canada to Western, totally different. BC, it's got its own ball game just because of the whole tenant laws and legislation and difficulties that are in BC. So we're going to talk about some things on a different training for screening, what we can do. But in the meantime, we're going to talk today about some things that all of us can do no matter where we are, so that we are making the best of our portfolio. So the number one thing that you can do, and this is whether you've bought your property or not, whether you're self-managing or not, is you want to start thinking about and choosing first, preferably before you buy your property if you can, you want to first choose your tenant demographic. So who do you want to deal with? Who do you want to talk to every day? Who do you want to be answering the phone to? Who do you want to be texting with? Maybe you don't want to be texting. Maybe you're going to choose an older demographic. We had a single family in an area that had, it was just for 55 plus. So that kind of became my focus for a little while, was catering to and seeing, is this the market I want to deal with? Because they're fantastic to deal with. So what is it that you're needing to deal with? So choose your demographic. Again, before you buy preferably, but let's say you have your place already. Let's say you bought it, you're managing it, and now you need to know the things that you can do so that you can attract the right people. So, first off, you have to remember who you're talking to. Staging, paint, advertising, amenities in the home. What do they want? And so you're going to really focus your efforts, your time, and your money on those things. So we're seeing a lot more people that want things like granite in kitchens. It used to be that renters didn't care, but we're seeing more and more that there are renters that want those nicer upgrades. So who are you renting to? Are they a family? Are they a young couple? Are they professional young couple? Are they students, and are they first year students? Or are they, beyond 4th and 5th year students that, have really made a lifestyle out of that? If you're near a university, student housing, great, you're in student housing now, or in an area. Are you, again, those early students, the later students, or do you want to rent to the professors in the area? So, at the end of the day, there's so many different things. Airbnb, you can have executives, you can have blue collar, you can have white collar. Who do you want to be talking to? And who in that group has the income to support what you're wanting to do? So if they have the income to support the properties, now you're going to stage, take pictures for, you might put a bottle of wine with some wine glasses in your staging pictures and your welcome gift, or on the counter when you're doing showings. Or you might do the exact opposite, and you might put a whole bunch of kids' toys in the backyard if you're looking for families, and put those in the pictures. So you're staging with toys, maybe gifting with toys. Again, it comes down to who are you looking to deal with? And then you really, really have to cater your marketing to these people. You have to cater your advertising. You have to cater your staging, your paint. I get people that don't want funky colors, and then I get people who love funky colors. Get people that want really very, very plain, especially older ones. And then I get people who want paint walls bright pink and, charcoal and all kinds of things. So yeah, we really want to cater to those people. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. So yeah, we want to cater to those people. So that's our first thing. Now, what can that do for you? So just as an example, we have had fences that have been built on properties paid for, not by us. We've helped get permits for them or properly make sure that they're doing it properly and that they're all organized. But we haven't paid for the fences that have gone in on some of our brand new properties. We've had decks put on. I had a bathroom put in. Again, we, along the process, we're very involved in it so that we had a lot of say. But these are paid for by tenants. And why is that? Is because early on in our investing, we realized that we had been targeting the wrong people. We kind of bought anything that cash flowed. But we changed very quickly within maybe a year of really tough learning. We changed and we started advertising to, I wanted a younger-ish, high-income family. That's what I wanted as my tenant. They were making about $100,000 a year. Mom was hopefully staying home, taking care of the house and that sort of thing, but dad was bringing in a good enough income. Most of them were blue collar because of the area that I live in. But at the end of the day, we had a lady who called and she says, hey, I didn't want to bug you last night. We had a plumbing issue. I called the plumber. It was a $400 bill. I thought I'd let you know, but don't worry about it. We took care of it. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want reimbursement for it, then, because I was assuming she wanted reimbursement, then just, send in your receipt. Let me know what happened, and I can submit it for you to the office, even though the office is us, but I can submit it for you. And she was like, oh no, don't worry about it. No, I was happy to have it taken care of. I wanted it done last night. I didn't want to have to wait till tomorrow till I could get a hold of you. So I just got it. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So that's the kind of tenant you can target. Or you can target like the Airbnbs where you're going to be, turning over people a lot. You're going to have to be a little more hands-on. You have a really good team being hands-on. Doesn't matter what you target. Just remember to keep your lifestyle involved. So for me, I wanted that kind of tenant because I wanted as hands-off management as I could get while still being involved. So that's what you have to think about, not just who do you want to talk to every day and, who do you want to deal with and what type of houses do you want to own for them? Because of course you're then going to cater what you buy based on what they want and the areas, the parks, the schools, maybe the shopping, the cafes, restaurants. But so not only are you going to target the amenities and everything around those places when you're buying or staging for them, but you also have to think about your lifestyle and the effect that it's going to have on you. Because again, our goal is to stay in this game long term, not for 4 to 5 years like we see most investors doing, get in and get out. Not for 4 to 5 years, but longer, so those mortgages are paid down. Kelly, I see your question, and I saw a couple questions go by. I did miss them, but I'm going to come back to them at the end. So we'll address every single question that comes in, so feel free to leave your questions. So how did we get the fence for free? They had asked us if we would put in a fence. My answer was, let me check for you. I'll see, if the owner can afford it. Now, because this is actually another, I don't have this in my notes, but this is a great tip. We self-managed. However, because we were joint venture partners, I was able to say, and our first few joint venture partners were a little more hands-on. Like they would actually have input and I would check with them, be like, this is this, family that I found for this place. Do you want them? Yes, no. What do you think? They usually deferred to me, but I would involve them. Toward the later, it was like, no, they just wanted hands off. But I would say to them, I'll find out for you. Let me see. I'll see if I can, if there's budget for a fence or whatever it might be. So when I do that, for one, that's called third partying. You immediately let yourself off the hook. You immediately can be their friend. You're not saying no to them. It's them that said no. Now you want to be careful not to make them the investors. I always say it's I'll check with the investors. You want to be careful not to make them like a bad guy because then they won't care about taking care of the house. You just be like, oh, you know what? I'll just see if they have the budget for it. If they do, I know they'll do it because they're really good guys. But if they don't, I'll let you know, so let me see. So I went back to her and I said, you know what, the budget isn't there for this year. And it wasn't. So she was like, okay, well, what about if we did it? If we, we'll do it properly. We'll hire someone. We'll also help them. We'll get all the permits or whatever. But what if we did it? Because I really want a fence for the kids. And I'm like, well, okay. It was the first time that it happened was with this lady. I'm like, okay, well, let me see. And I had to think it through and how am I going to get things done properly, because I don't want it done wrong either. And we've done it. I think we've done it 3 times now where it's just, sure, I'll help you get the permits. Let's see this. Let's see that. Who are you using as a contractor? Can I get the quotes? They do all the work. I just approve everything and they pay for it. So again, that's that tenant demographic. Who do you want to be dealing with? That was great for me. So we actually started focusing all of our rentals on that type of a demographic so that we could continue to get those types of tenants. And like I said, we've had lots of things like that through the years based on what we chose. So yeah, but remember to third party. You work for the investor. You work for a group of investors. You will check with them. You will advocate. You'll do your best to get what they're asking for, but it's really ultimately out of your hands. And that's a great thing. And I still use it down to this day. Sometimes they'll even call Corey, be like, hey, this is not a phone. Be like, hey, just be like, he'll be like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, good. I'm just at a showing right now. Do you have a second? I just have a question for you. Just wondering, the tenants are wondering if they can have 3 cats, even though we said that there's a 2-pet limit. What do you think about that? And he'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll be like, okay, great. Thanks. Perfect. I come back to them and be like, yeah, he said we can, but the pet fees will also apply, or whatever it might be. So it works great when you have a partner or you have a joint venture partner or a group of people that you're investing with. It works great to be able to just take the pressure off of yourself. Okay, so that's our number 1 tip. Choose your tenant demographic. I'm going to say that's 2 tips in one, because the third partying has been my lifesaver for 15 years, because I don't like saying no to people and I don't like I like being an advocate for people, and that allows me to do that. So if you're a people pleaser and you're a yes man, that is a really good tip. So I'm going to say that's 2 tips in one. But anyways, number 2, time saving. So again, to stay in this game long term, we really have to value our time. And one thing I noticed, with me for sure, I was running around like crazy. I got a car just so that I could run around like crazy. I found I was going a little nuts. I was never on top of anything because I was running around. And so one thing that we learned is this. It is so simple. This is at Home Depot. This is on Amazon. They're $40. When we started, they were $32. $40. And you take it and you put it on the door. It's just done by combination. You open it up. You put the keys inside. This is how easy it is to open. Watch it not work right now. This is how easy it is to open and put on the door. You close it back up and you have a key box on there. Now, why would we want a key box on there? We're not going to let tenants in. We're going to be doing showings, right? Carpet cleaners, contractors for estimates, property assistants. Now, I'm going to do a whole secondary training on property assistance and on screening, because those 2 things alone can be their own training. But property assistants, when we have a property assistant, they're going to do our showings for us. And it is so simple to have a key box on there. So the very first thing you do when you have a vacancy, you go to your group of lock boxes. If you don't have one, you go straight to Home Depot and you buy one, or you order it on Amazon and get it the next day. And you put your keys on your lockbox, it's on the property. You will not believe how many times something's going to come up and you'll be like, oh, I can't get there. That's okay. There's a key. You go right ahead. So very simple, right? But for the first probably 3 or 4 years of managing our properties, I didn't know about it. I was running like a chicken with my head cut off, kids in tow and life upside down. Because when people need into a property to do an estimate, a contractor or anybody, maintenance, cleaners, giving you quotes, any of that stuff, they often need it now. So put on a lockbox. It was an absolute lifesaver, and it's $40. So now here's one that is worth its weight in gold. And again, it was used or learned through years of just, trial and error. And that is staggering your showings. So how do we book a showing? Sean, thank you. Good call. Sean says, get one with a rubber on the back so that you don't wreck the door. And that's right. These are like, I don't know, can't hear it, but they're rubber on the back. They don't wreck your door. They're easy to deal with. They're great. Keyless entry for sure. Keyless entry we have had issues with before, but only once. So yeah, pretty good. Shelly, yes, when the tenant locks themselves out of the house, we generally take it off after they leave. But I do know some investors that leave one on the door. So like Shelly says, leave it on the door. You always have a key on the property or somewhere on the property. If the tenant locks themselves out, then you just give them the code, change it at another time. That having been said, generally speaking, in our leases, we say if you're locked out of the house, call a locksmith or call us and it's $150. How much is a locksmith? It's $150. So we kind of say that's your, responsibility, and we teach them that way and train them that way. Again, because the type of tenant I'm dealing with for the most part is okay with that, and as long as they know up front, they're good. But I have heard of investors leaving these on the door, and that's a great thing too. And then you always have access, and so do they, even during their tenancy. So, okay, getting back to staggering our viewing. So when we have viewings come up, so we have an ad out, and we start getting phone calls, and we're going to screen them, of course. Again, I'm going to do another live training. Probably next Tuesday we'll be on screening and property assistance. So when we have, a phone call, we screen them, we talk to them, we decide, yep, we like them, we're going to set up a showing. So here's what we do for our showings. We stagger our showings. So I'm just going to give you an example. I had one actually last Sunday afternoon. Generally speaking, I will not commit to a showing until it's someone that I really want. Once I want the person on a showing, then I say, Kate, I'm doing one. Now get them in as soon as you can. So, in a hot market, when we used to be able to say, oh yeah, I'll see you there in 3 or 4 days, and I'd have 10 or 12 people show up, great. But that's not how every market is. Those that still have that, good for you. But as the markets come and go and change, we've been through 4 downturns in our 15 years in our area because we cycle pretty quick. You have to change with it. So a lot of markets are going to need this, as ours does right now, is you need to get them in right away. They're walking by, they see a sign. They check on their phone, they happen to be nearby. Whatever it is, you want to get them in as soon as you can to see the place. If you really like them and you want them in, try to go that day or the next day. Once you have an appointment time with someone that you like, so don't just book everyone. Get someone good. Save your time, preserve yourself, save yourself. Once you get someone you like, then you're going to stagger other bookings around them. So let's say that this person is going to come and see it at noon. Now, every other phone call, you're going to up your ads, you're going to bump your advertising, you're going to do whatever you can to now push as many people into this showing as possible, because you only want to do one showing. The max you want to do, I don't care what down market you're in, you don't want to be doing, more than 3 showings ever. But so you have your appointment time. Now you stagger all these other appointments around them in 15-minute increments. So if this guy's coming at noon, the next person that calls, even if they're not that great, if they're really awful, just whatever, pass on them. But if they're not that great, but they're okay, tell them 12:15. Now, what does that do? The next guy, you're going to tell them 12:30. What does that do? The one that you really like now realizes that this is a hot commodity and a hot property, and they want that property, and they realize that there's other people that want in on it. So, any point in having them bump into other potential renters? There we go, Sean. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You actually want them to bump into each other. And time and time and time again, it has worked for us. Now, when I first started out, it would throw me off. I was already nervous doing a showing. I already had too much emotion in it because, I was hoping to get renters. So I would often, be like, oh, sorry, can you just text me when you get here? Or they call and say, I'm like, I'm running late. Can you please wait in the car? Blah, blah, blah. Now, I let them come to the door. I let them walk right up. I then say to them, oh, I'm sorry, I'm running late. Would you mind? I'll just come and get you when this one's done. But in the meantime, I've been able to say to my 12 o'clock, the guy I really want, hey, it's first come, first serve. So if you do want it, and you do, why don't you apply for it right now? Now, we do applications with deposit only, so that we're not running a bunch of applications of people that really don't care. Used to be, I did that. And some people would put an application in and then literally never call me to see if it got approved or not. And people still do that, I hear. So, we do applications with deposit only. If I really like them, I just want them to have some skin in the game. I'll say like $500. If I'm not quite sure and I don't really care if they apply or not, I'll say a full month's rent. But I just want them to have some skin in the game. And I tell them that right then and there, why don't you apply right now? And lots of times they will. Now, the second person comes, I thank them. I say, yeah, if you just want to go to your car, when I'm done with these guys, I'll come back and explain things to you or answer any questions. They leave. The second people come in. Well, guess what? Now there's urgency again. So let's say I really like them. I'll take a backup on application on that, just in case the first one doesn't go through. But in the meantime, what I've created is some scarcity. I've created people going, okay, there's a lot of people coming. They want this place. Now, another thing that I do is, it used to be I'd keep my phone on silent for showings. In general, when you're with other people, right, it's the polite thing to do. However, I found that in real estate, people expect us to be busy. And so what I do is I've bumped my ads, right, in the even hour before that showing, because I've wanted people to start coming in like crazy. Now, if it's a number that I don't know and I think might be a potential renter for that place, I answer my phone in front of the people that are there, in front of the people that I want to take this place. So I answer my phone. I just say, I'm so sorry, can I just get this? I think it's someone calling for a place for rent. I should grab it if I can. And they're like, oh, okay, of course. So once I do that, I answer my phone, I answer all their questions, oh yeah, I'm doing a showing here right now. I'm not sure how far you are, but you could come in half an hour if you wanted. And again, I will let those people come. The deposit, is it refundable? Fatima, I saw your thing come and go, but I didn't actually get to it, your question. But is the deposit refundable? Yes, it is refundable. So, and really good question. So thanks for that. I always say to them, it is fully, so just before you give me any money, I want you to understand very clearly. It is fully refundable to you if for some reason we cannot take you, most probably because of credit. It is fully refundable to you. However, if for some reason you change your mind after giving me money, it is not refundable. And I give them a receipt, like it's just a form that I made in Word that's blank, and I just keep blank ones in my car. I give them a receipt that says that, so that they know it is not refundable to them if they change their mind. However, it is fully refundable to them if for some reason we can't take them. Never had anyone argue about it. I've had people before say to me, what? No one would ever do that. Everyone does it. It's not a bad thing. Now, for those of you that are in Alberta, we do have fantastic ability here for certain things. Now, check your legislation for this, but we are able to, let's say I took a damage deposit. Samuel, I think you asked that question. If I took a damage deposit, and they backed out after, it would not be refundable to them. Sorry. It would be refundable to them. I would have to give them their money back. Even if I turned the second people away, I would have to give them their money back. But in Alberta and in many places, states, provinces, in many of them, if they've given you a deposit toward first month's rent instead of a deposit or a damage deposit, so giving you first month's rent or even a deposit toward first month's rent, then it is not refundable to them if they change their mind. So check your legislation in your local area. And that's one thing with one of those things that being in long term as an investor, you learn these kinds of things, long term. So I actually think I might have learned that from Veldon Palm, I think. I don't know if you're on here, Veldon, but like years and years ago, I'm pretty sure. So anyways, good questions. So you're going to stagger your viewings. You're going to create that scarcity. You're going to have a backup even if you want to. And many, many times we will find that you can get more people through, get more applications, and be doing less showings. So stagger your viewings. Start with the first person. Put the people that you like before them, even if you like someone more that you find. People that you don't like so much, put them after, and just use them for creating scarcity. Even say to them, look, sorry, this guy just applied. You're welcome to come and look through if you'd like. But this person is planning on applying. So, and yes, it is an Alberta thing for sure, but it also applies other places. So, and legislation, absolutely. So, then they stay waiting outside. Doesn't it look bad? That used to freak me out, Ashley. Totally used to freak me out. And I was nervous, but you know what? It doesn't look bad. I ask them to wait in their car generally. And people don't have a problem with that. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. Sorry, we're early. Lots of them do that. They'll say, oh yeah, sorry, we're early. But does it look bad? No, it looks like it's a hot property, and it kind of is reminiscent of when we had a crazy hot market here, and we did have, not joking, 6, 8, 10, 12 people standing on the front lawn waiting to view because everyone got there early because everyone wanted the first shot. So let's see. There's actually a video on YouTube about this that I did. So it's probably the same as what I just said right now, but I'll post this to the group after. It's one of our videos that we have on YouTube. So one other thing I'm going to leave here with showings is Don Campbell taught us this again. First thing when we first started learning things, we've used it for 15 years, is that you want to make sure to make them confirm with you. Now I have people that, I'll talk to them, let's say in the morning, and we'll have a showing for 7 p.m., let's say. And I'll say, okay, yeah, we'll meet you at 7. That sounds great. I've already pre-screened them. I already like them. And I'll say to them, can you please confirm with me by text by 5 p.m. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume something came up and I won't go either. Now, I think that's the exact same words that Don taught us, and I've been using the same ones forever. And people say, oh yeah, no worries. I'll be there for sure. I really want to see this place. Perfect. That's awesome. Great. Do you mind just confirming with me by about 5, just so that I don't go out of my way? And, people say, yeah, all the time. I've had a few people over the years that forget. They might be a little bit late with it, or they forget until 7 and then call me, but at least it's on them. But I could probably say in the hundreds of people that don't show up, even though they're like, yeah, no, I definitely will. So guess what? I haven't gone either. So that's, the whole confirming thing. Make sure they confirm within an hour or maximum of 2 hours, so you're not wasting your time. Also, for those, so remember we have our guy at noon. We like him. We want him to come. We have those ones that we also just let come just to kind of add some buzz and add some energy. Even those guys, I won't wait around for them either. If they don't confirm with me 2 hours ahead, I consider them off the list. So don't wait until, 12:30 if the guy didn't confirm for you, even if he's an extra. So anyways, so those are my tips. Those are the top tips that I put together for today. There's so many of them. I literally did not know which ones to choose, but we're gonna go over them again. Choose your demographic before you're buying, preferably. However, even if you have a home already, you can stage with toys, with wine, with, you know, a coffee bar or a cozy nook or whatever it might be. You can stage with painting and little props to invite that tenant demographic into your place. And that's a fantastic way to really hone in on these people. And they will be attracted to it. So even if you bought wrong, that's okay. Thanks, guys. Great tips. Yay. Thank you. Let me know what you want to see more of and what you're like, okay, didn't really love that. But so yeah, and send in out your problems and your issues for me, please. Our next trainings are going to be on screening and having property assistants. That's how we've run our business for 15 years, doing self-management. So property assistants, how they work, how do you pay them, how do you find them? Screening, what have we found the most important things? What things have we just let go of? Like, our screening system is so simple, I can do it in literally 5 minutes, but I've had to let go of a whole ton of things. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all of your love. It's nice to know that it's helpful. So there's also a video on our on our YouTube about how we changed our leases to the 25th of the month. I'm going to post that in the group as well. Maybe I'll do that one in a couple days. But that's actually a really good property management tip that has saved my life. So please invite others to our group. So we're trying to do more and more and more training. And honestly, it's like feeding our souls to get back into this training thing and share all these things. So if you know anyone that could benefit from this, please share it with them. And we are going to be running a contest in about 10 days. But anyone who starts from tonight forward, anyone who invites people into our group, we can see when you've invited somebody. So anyone that does that, then we're going to enter you into the contest as well. So please do that. Not sure if we should do like, you know, a one-on-one session with us, a question and answer thing for whoever wins the contest, or if we should do like an Amazon gift card. I really don't know. I feel really presumptuous saying it would be time with us, but if that's helpful and that's what you would actually want to see, then let us know. But otherwise it'll probably be an Amazon gift card. So yeah, top tips, demographics, put on a lockbox, stagger your viewings, and third party everything. So thanks, guys. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for joining us. And cheers. We'll talk soon. Oh, just wait. I'm sorry. No, I forgot to do questions. If anyone needs questions. Okay, hang on. I'm scrolling to the questions if anybody is still here. How'd you get the fences? Yes. Address that. Okay, actually, I think we might have gotten them. Okay, so no, Ashley, tell the second person that you will be with them in a moment so they see that you have someone there. Yes, exactly. And I just asked them to step outside. No one ever has a problem with it. Yes, that's exactly what we do. And no, it's not awkward. It's actually just fine. Quebec, I'm not sure about. I know Quebec is very, very different from the rest of Canada. So if you're having trouble figuring out whether or not that will work for you, let me know. But call your authorities, your legislation, your RTA, whatever it is that you have there. Call them, do your homework. If you need help deciphering, certainly get in touch with us. We're info@investorlife.com. And we'll help you try to navigate through that kind of stuff. All right. Let's see. Yes, agreed, Kelly. We also have to do that with our damage deposits for sure. And I see a question just came in and I'm just about to it. It's the very last one, I think. There we go. Terry, do I request credit checks? So yes. So next week's training is going to be on screening and property assistance. And so that's going to be a big part of what we talk about is, what's a good credit check? What do we use as our standards? Is it important? Is it not important? When is it important? When is it not important? But for us, credit checks is very important. So yes, absolutely. Do we do credit checks? You bet we do. Can I do a class on advertising? Yeah. So would that be, Heather, would that be advertising your properties, like writing ads and where you would put it and that sort of thing? If that's the case, absolutely. So we'll be doing training Tuesdays, every Tuesday. So it might be morning, it might be afternoon, it might be night. The replays will always be available. But yeah, can we do a class on advertising? Yes. So I made a note of that to add. And you can just let me know. There is a delay here, so I'm just waiting for your answer here. I'll give it a minute. You can let me know whether you mean advertising properties. You know, are you talking advertising to find tenants or to find joint venture partners or to find houses to buy or whatever it is. So yeah, you can just let me know in the comments after. And now I am done, even though I said I was done already 5 minutes ago, but yeah, the Q&A is done. So unless there's any questions from anybody else. Okay, yes, where to advertise. You bet, Heather. And a class on dealing with inherited tenants and how to get rid of them. Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Are you in that situation right now, Sean? Are you, do you have tenants in there right now that you're trying to get rid of? Because that might be something that we need to deal with a little bit quicker. Who would normally, okay, Sean, let me know about that. Sean, who would normally pass my background checks? So again, it depends, and we'll get into this next week more, but it depends on the type of property and the tenant demographic that I needed in there. So it depends. I do a lot of things based on credit, but there's some certain things that I will not accept and other things that I will. So it is pretty subjective, and it is a big topic. So that's why we're kind of doing it next time. Okay, okay, Sean, so you're looking at a triplex with one bad tenant. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is, let me see, I will do a Q&A on that, and I will post it to YouTube, okay, on how to get bad tenants out. And we too inherited, we bought in one certain area, we had bought about, I think it was about 40 properties, and many of them were tenanted. So my worst evictions, my worst court dealings, my worst everything. One time I had to carry bear spray to one because it was that bad and I couldn't find anyone to come with me. But yeah, how do you go about it? What are some ways you can do it in the best possible way? We've definitely found ways that are better, easier, and work for everyone. And then you don't have a fight and you're on a good page with everyone. And that's certainly what, you know, we all want as investors: emotions down and respect for other people. And so maybe I will do a video on that, Sean. I will send it to you, and then we'll post that to YouTube as well. So if you haven't left us your email address, Sean, can you just post it in the comments or even email us at info@investorlife, and we'll make sure to get that to you. I was under the impression, from Luis, I was under the impression that it's better not to stage a home for rental tenants because their mindset is to see an empty house, as renters normally want to move in very fast. It's easier for them to imagine themselves in a property. What are your thoughts? Great question, Luis. So we do stage for tenants. Now, do we stage as much as we would when it's for, you know, sale? Absolutely not. Our budget is a whole lot thinner and smaller. Many of the items I keep in my home and you reuse and reuse. So HomeSense is a great place. You can spend $150 and have some great stuff to just recycle. So if you are staging though, you're right. If they can't picture themselves moving in, then that, you know, they're not going to move in. But if you do staging that is very unpersonal, so you're not going to have, you know, pictures of people or kids or family or anything, but all your staging is going to do is create in their minds, it's going to allow them to visualize living there. That's a coffee corner. That's a spot on the deck that I could have coffee on every morning. You know, this is a little nook or a little playroom where, oh my goodness, I can shut the door, but yet I can still hear everything. I'm not far from them. I don't have to leave them alone for hours at a time. But oh my goodness, that would be great. It's just a playroom here, yay. So you want to stage, allowing them to visualize themselves, and especially staging or issues come in when it's not an empty house, when it's bad tenant furniture. So that kind of staging where you're like putting pictures of, furniture that's not so great or doesn't use the space effectively, that's when you're going to run into problems there. So hopefully that answered your question. Let me know if it didn't. But yeah, staging impersonally and much simpler for rentals than you would for selling, for sure. Okay, Sean. Yeah, Shelly's got a good point. You can do that, ask for vacant possession and leave it up to the seller to deal with. Sometimes though, we got a better deal by saying, hey, we'll deal with them. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do that. And sometimes if it's a newer and or very tired landlord, I don't know, what did you find, Shelly? I mean, Shelly, you've got so much experience too. So but that's a great way to do it is, ask for vacant possession and leave it up to them to deal with. Advertising vacant properties, where to advertise, how to rent in a high vacancy area. Okay, we've got some of that going on, so for sure. Lori, yes, for sure. All right, Anne, do you ever let furnished? Yeah, what kind of tenants would you be attracting with a furnished property? So good question. We have a few furnished rentals. So there's a few different options. For one, you can rent to corporate people. They're going to be shorter term, 2 to 3 to 4 month terms. But they're also going to want a little bit nicer furniture. So, if you do a furnished unit, you can rent to corporations. You can contact insurance companies in the area and let them know that you have properties for, if someone has a fire or a flood and they have to be displaced from their homes for a little while. Insurance companies love having just an immediate person to call that will house all their people because it just makes their people happier with them. You can do an Airbnb, of course, like that's the hottest thing right now. If your area or legislation provides for it, you can certainly do that. We do also have a video on YouTube about how we took a property that was probably negative cash flow by, I don't know, maybe $100. I don't really remember, but it was break even or even maybe a bit negative. And we were able to up that to, on average, we get about $700 a month of cash flow out of that property. So Anne, I will post that one to the group as well in the next week. How about that? So that I'm not bugging you guys with too much content, but it talks about that a little bit. So insurance companies, and the last one I'll mention there with a furnished rental is relocation agents. So, whether it's military or government or whatever you have going on, oil companies in our area, lots of times they want to place executives in these nicer properties that have kitchens, but that they can just still show up with a suitcase, but they don't want to live in hotels anymore. And so furnished rentals can be fantastic for that type of tenant. And once you create these relationships, like with relocation agents, we have these relationships and they call us all the time. Hey, I have a guy coming in, and they know that they barely have to look at our properties because they're always clean and they're always good. But secondly, this is another benefit of the lockbox. They know I use lockboxes. They don't have to work around my schedule. They can show it whenever they want to, and I know and trust them and just give them the code. I don't have to do my own showings. So yes, for sure, lots of good opportunities with that. Great, Louise. I'm glad that answered your question. Awesome. Okay, is that all the questions? I think that's all the questions. So I believe I have a little bit of homework to do here. I have 3 things to post to YouTube and a little bit more stuff. If that's all the questions, guys, then again, thanks for joining us tonight. And we will be doing Tip Tuesdays or Training Tuesdays every week. So let us know what you want to see. And we've added those things to our list for you guys. So we'll bring those up in the trainings again. So next week is going to be screening and then property assistance. What are they? Who are they? How do we find them? How do we pay them? All right, guys. Thanks very much. Have a good night. And we will talk to y'all soon. You're welcome, Ashley. See you later.